So have you ever stopped to think about what happens after? After someone embraces a really new belief, something that kind of shakes up their life.
Yeah, like the next step. We're actually looking at a source today that dives right into that, specifically within a spiritual context.
Exactly. We're exploring excerpts from Rhapsody of Realities by Pastor Chris, and the focus is on, well, making evangelism complete.
hmm It's about understanding what comes after that initial moment of conversion, at least from this perspective.
Right. Our mission here is to unpack why, according to this source, just sharing the message, well, might not be the full story.
Okay. So where do we start?
Well, the text kicks things off with a pretty powerful analogy.
It does. It compares new converts to newborn babies.
Babies, right, instantly highlighting this need for nourishment.
Exactly. Nourishment, and actually quotes scripture, First Peter, about desiring the milk of the word so they can grow. It really draws this direct line between a baby's vulnerability and that early stage of faith. Makes you think about how dependent someone might be initially.
It really does. You wouldn't just, well, leave a baby on its own.
Precisely. And that thought leads straight into the source's next big point, the local church.
Ah, okay. Community.
Yeah, huge emphasis on getting new believers plugged into a church community and quickly.
How strongly does it put that?
Very strongly. The analogy used is, well, it's quite stark. It says not doing so is like a mother just abandoning her newborn at the hospital.
Wow. Okay. So definitely framing it as essential, not just like a nice add-on.
Absolutely vital, not optional at all, according to this view.
That image really does stick with you. But it's not just find a church, is it? There's more specific guidance.
That's right. It advises against just saying, oh, find any nice church near you.
So what should be done then
The advice is actually to guide them specifically to your own church.
to your church? Okay, why?
Yeah.
What's the reasoning?
Well, the logic presented is that you know the teachings there. You're familiar with the environment, so you can be confident it's a good place for them to grow spiritually.
Hmm. Okay. It implies a certain level of responsibility then for the person who shared the message in the first place?
It does. It suggests that if someone trusts the message you brought them, they'd naturally be interested in where that message comes from, like the community you belong to.
It makes a certain kind of sense, like an extension of the initial connection. You see the idea, you want to see the context.
Exactly. It speaks to that social dimension of belief. It's not just an internal shift. It often pulls people towards, community.
So what are the benefits highlighted for actually getting them into that specific church community?
Okay, so several things. First, consistent teaching that's seen as just fundamental for spiritual growth.
Right. Ongoing learning.
Uh-huh. And then there's the connection aspect, getting them linked up with leaders, with other believers.
Hmm.
It builds that sense of belonging.
Creates a support network, basically. Shared excitement too, maybe.
Yes, exactly. Shared excitement, support.